Welcome back to the Barry Charles Footy Show. In this episode, we're going to look at stars from the past that could deliver a premiership for your team in 2023 if we were going to pick one right here, right now. Now, first of all, we're going to look at this top four squad here and see how the top four of last year could deliver themselves a premiership if we could bring back one person from the past. So first off here, Parramatta. Well, Parramatta have been searching for a premiership for a long time, and they got so close last year and just could not deliver. So who do they need? Who do they need to get rid of? Well, Mitchell Moses is one of them. Do you bring back Sterlo? Then you obviously got Dylan Brown, who again, a very good player as well, but is he a Brett Kenny? Now that's another question you got to have to yourself. And then you got on the wing, do you bring back an Eric Grove Senior? He was an outstanding player. Do you bring him back? Also, who else is there to pick from? Well, there's so many good players. Yeah, of course you got Luke Burt, solid player. He would bring yourself a bench utility, or you can play wing or fullback as well. You also got Nathan Hindmarsh, and you know what you get out of him every week. Very consistent. Same with Nathan Kalis. So, and obviously the great leader himself, Ray Price, has got to be in the conversation here for the team. Who do you pick out of all those there if you're looking at the squad? Oh, this is tough. Eric Grove Senior definitely is a big chance to play on the wing, but again, I keep going looking back at the premiership. Would he win you a premiership from the wing? No, he wouldn't. Same with Luke Burt. Same with Nathan Hindmarsh. Same with Nathan Kalis. None of these players would win you a premiership, and it's been proven because they didn't win a premiership when they were there, especially those last three. Which leaves us with the good old winning days here of either Sterlo, Kenny, or Price. Now, if you look at the forward pack, yes, Ray Price is a leader, absolutely outstanding, and would be just what the Parramatta Eels need. No doubt about it, it's something they need. But is it enough to win a premiership? That is debatable. That is the question you've got to ask yourself. And now it comes down to the halves. To me, I know who I'm picking, but you can debate this till the cows come home. But out of these two, who would I pick? This is what we got to decide. If you're going straight for the two players, who's the better player? It's hard to know, but if you're looking at potential, Dylan Brown. But if you just want to win a premiership now instead of looking at potential, to me, you pick Brett Kenny every day. And I think Brett Kenny is one of those players that is forgotten about in the immortal status. He was a gun, 5'8". He was a gun. Now, I know they're always talking about Sterlo and everything, and he was the halfback, but I tell you what, Brett Kenny is up there with what he lost. Very, very good player. Very good player, Brett Kenny. He's been totally forgotten about. Because he hasn't been in the media, he's been a forgotten player, but I tell you what, he was a gun player. Brett Kenny, he would be the one I would bring back. Where he would play, well, I don't know, 6 or 7, take your pick. I don't think no matter where you play Brett Kenny, he would deliver. Too, but you could obviously pick Sterlo as well. I think you couldn't go wrong with any of these three on Ray Price. But I think really, when it comes to a premiership, Sterlo or Brett Kenny is who you would need for Parramatta fans if you want to win in 2023. What's next on our list? The Cowboys. The Cowboys. Well, this one was narrowed down quite quickly for mine. Obviously, Aaron Payne, he would be one that I didn't originally have on my list, but I just thought of him now. I think Aaron Payne would be a good signing, and they're probably missing a number 9, even though Reece Robson did a job. He would be on the list. Luke O'Donnell would be very good for this team, but they already got Ruben Cotter, they got Luciano, they got Jeremiah Nana. They probably, Luke O'Donnell, Jason Tamalolo, they probably don't really need him, so he's out of the cut, which leaves a bit of a debate on who do you pick here. If you're looking at current squad, I'd probably put Matt Bowen. But who's going to win you a premiership? There's no doubt about it. Jonathan Thurston would be the one you would pick. No doubt about it. So Jonathan Thurston would be the Cowboys selection. and it'd be just a straight drop for Tommy Dean there, folks. Could easily have him or Chad Townsend, whatever one you like, doesn't really matter. But Matt Bowen is so electric, and having Matt Bowen back there in that team, it would be exciting. But Matt Bowen wouldn't be the player he was without Jonathan Thurston, and that's no credit to Matt Bowen, but yeah, Jonathan Thurston was just a gun, absolute gun, one of the best we've ever seen, and he is up there with Andrew Johns. You could argue he did more than what Andrew Johns did, and you could say he is the premium halfback. But then people could argue Cooper Cronk. This is a big debate for mine. Cooper Cronk, to me, won some. He didn't have the talent of Thurston or Andrew Johns or Sam Walker or Sean Johnson or Benji Marshall, but he had the work ethic and he worked hard to get to where he did, and he won premierships. And that's the biggest thing I look at. He won premierships, and I think Cooper Cronk needs to be in that conversation as one of the best halves ever to play this game. He might not have the super talent, but he was very super consistent in what he did and what he did for the team around him. So that's for another day. But yes, Thurston would be my Cowboys pick to make them a premiership force, even though they were pretty close to a premiership force anyway without him. The Sharkies, the mighty Sharkies. This was an interesting one because there's so many options here. Obviously, Michael Innes could go into 9. He would be very, very good. Bring back E.T. Eddinghausen, but to be fair, their centres are pretty good, so probably not need to win. The leadership of Paul Gallen, well, they've already signed Dale Finucane to really do that role, and they've got Wade Graham. I'm not too worried about the leadership of the squad, but obviously Paul Gallen would be right up there with a big chance. But who I would bring back on the squad really needs, to me, to be a premiership force. It's David Peachey. David Peachey was an absolute gun of a fullback, absolute freak of nature, could do stuff like Greg Inglis, absolutely star player. And if he had played the Greg Inglis time, he would be up. We'll be talking about him as good as Greg Inglis, but he was just playing a little bit before him, and he was very outstanding. But he probably would have had more craft into his game if he had played a bit later with better coaching. But he was a gun player, old Peachey, and he just. But for most of us that watched David Peachey back in the day, he gave you heart palpitations when he was trying to score tries right at the edge of the try line. I just don't know why players do that. And it's just craziness, but it's just some players like to be a bit of show ponies, and that's what he was. No doubt about it. Old Peachey, but I think if Peachey's in the squad with the squad they got with Nico Hines and then the halves, they are a premiership force, no doubt about it. David Peachey. Bring back the Peachey. And last of all, the premiers. What do we do with the premiers? Who would you pick out of the premiers? Yeah, I was just trying to look at players that, to me, would strengthen the squad. So you obviously got Brad Fittler, who would, in this squad, would play number 3, and Isaac Targo would go. Pretty sad for Isaac, but to me, Brad Fittler would play that position. But he can cover Jerome Luai, and he can also cover Isaiah Yeo. But he would play there. Tony Puletua, he would be straight into my top team, and he would be Scott Sattler. Isaiah Yeo probably has surpassed him on talent, but Scott Sattler is obviously in the conversation. And obviously, one place that they really are struggling is at hooker. Do you bring back Api Carousel? He's obviously in the conversation, Api Carousel. But I've fought for this experiment. I have left him out. But Royce Simmons, good old Royce, delivered them a premiership, scored a brilliant try. To me, I would bring Royce Simmons back. That old school style, I think, bring him in, put him in 9. And I think this team is a premiership threat. But yeah, it's a tough one because I also would think Brad Fittler in number 3 and covering all those positions would absolutely help the side too. So you could pick one of the other, to be honest, out of those two from mine. So that's me looking at the top 4 teams and what, if one player to come back, who would it be? That's who I looked at from the past. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and there'll be plenty more to come. Take care out there.